So welcome to GA Watchtower. My name is Don, and I'm starting up this YouTube channel to serve as a voice and communication and hopefully a conversation starter for pilots across the country. Mainly focused on light general aviation. I'm a Mooney owner. Been flying for about 6 years now. Nothing quite like it. I've enjoyed it a lot. And wanted to get this open because there's a lot of things going on these days that are impacting light general aviation, some of which is getting a lot of attention while others people are just not in the know about. And some of it's some really great developments such as Mosaic and a lot of exciting things coming up on the horizon, even discussions of electric aircraft. Fantastic, experiences across the United States around aviation. Maybe even something as cool as Sun and Fun coming up here in just a few weeks, as well as, of course, there's always Oshkosh, right? The mother of them all. But in today's episode, I wanted to speak to you with respect to some stuff going on here in Kissimmee, Florida, and some progress that we've seen lately and a fight that we've had around the misuse of ADS-B. So bear with me and buckle up for a few minutes while I set the stage. And I think this is a very important topic for all pilots in the United States. It's a growing trend, and I think there's also a growing degree of pushback that thankfully we're starting to see. But I need your help. We all need your help at each and every state level and the federal level to put an end. I will say that today's subject is going to be mainly around the ADS-B. My intention is to use this YouTube channel for a number of things that are mostly going to be leaning on the positive side. I know there's plenty of activity out there doing accident reports and going through tragedies and doing investigations of how we can learn to do better as pilots, and I certainly support that. But in this channel, I just want to kind of focus more on the positive side, or at least maybe the areas where we have a little more influence and control to get ahead of things. So let me set the stage. I am located here in Kissimmee, Florida. And I remember when I was doing my flight training back in like 2019, there was this new technology being introduced to pilots called ADS-B. It was the greatest, most amazing development in aviation safety. You could have aircraft now transmitting positions of where you're at, how fast you're flying, direction, altitude, all shared with aircraft around you in ATC, and it made everything so much safer. Certainly a massive, massive improvement that we were all grateful to see. I do know that when that came around, there was a lot of promises from the FAA to pilots and aircraft owners that this would not be used for billing or fee collection. Also would not be used for, first level of effort of enforcement, as well as helping to avoid some frivolous lawsuits, that it would only be used for safety and safety purposes alone. So I was really surprised in late of 2024 in the city of Kissimmee that there was a public meeting that was held. I found out about it very last minute through a friend. And as we were in this public meeting, we were learning that the airport here in Kissimmee was passing landing fees to the extent of $3 for every 1,000 pounds max gross weight for every aircraft flying in it. Now, they're also going to the extent of charging for touch and goes, which is, I think, unheard of so far in the industry. So while I agree that airports have a right to bill landing fees, and I think these particular fees are really excessive and really targeting light general aviation, I was more disturbed probably than anything to find out they're using a third-party company called Vector to do this. And Vector uses ADS-B data to watch aircraft go into an airport, determine as best they can if that aircraft landed, and then send out a fee to the aircraft owner. And that fee will be submitted in a bill you'll get within a few weeks after the actual landing. And so I was just really disturbed when I saw that. I mean, who's using ADS-B, seriously, to send bills to pilots? But that is what's going on. So I did some research, reached out to Vector, and I said, I'd like to know all the airports that you are charging landing fees at. And the answer that I got back was, well, you have to have an account. So I said, okay, if I need an account, I'd set that up. You'll be able to tell me then, where I will get billed when I fly. And they said, well, give us your tail number. We'll tell you the areas you visit that have, ADS-B billing. So I thought that was kind of interesting. A friend of mine then went and requested the same thing. He said, what do I need to do to get access to the list of the airports? he was told that he would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So initially, they're going to charge you these fees. There's no really great upfront way to find out that they're there. I will say that they are on the web page for the airport, but it's very difficult to find. It's kind of buried down underneath things and difficult to get. And then, of course, you call Vector, and they're a little bit, kind of hiding behind the curtain a bit what airports are charging these fees. So in an effort to start, fighting this, we started a Facebook group called ADSB Tracked Billing Has Begun. When we first started it, the CEO for Vector had found his way in there along with some other folks, and we kind of raised these concerns. And I do want to give Vector CEO credit that he responded to some of this feedback and did publish on their website a list of their clients. I think that client list is around 100 airports at this point, and growing. So we have been raising some awareness around the Facebook group, started a petition this last year that you can go to change.org and just search for a call to halt ADSB billing. And we'd certainly welcome to have your signature added to the mix. But we're trying to get Congress to step in and say, no, ADSB was meant for safety. It's not meant for billing, and it's prohibited for that purpose. We haven't had success yet in Congress, but there are a couple of bills that are out there, and we're hoping to see those passed. If you're at all interested in writing to your state rep or your federal representative or your senator, this is House Bill 4146 that was introduced by Congressman Onder, and there is the Senate bill that is 2175 introduced by Senator Ted Budd. And we're really looking to have people connect with their local representatives and senators to find somebody to co-sponsor those bills so they get to a committee and they get reviewed. I do know that there was recently an NTSB chair meeting with Congress, particularly centered around the crash that happened in D.C. where the helicopter had the ADSB off. And the chairman, Jennifer Homendy, had actually said that this practice should be prohibited, and she recognized this legislation that Ted Budd had raised. She said, I hope that this passes because this is a safety issue. So all that to say, we've gone full circle now. Fast forward about 15, 16 months now. After a few of us pilots went into the city of Kissimmee, we met with the mayor, we met with the city manager, who is the boss over the airport. We have an airport director of operations who has no airport advisory board and no accountability. So that was the next level we went to. We took the very same spreadsheet they gave us in a public forum. We said if you charge $4 for every 1,000 pounds instead of $3, using the same numbers and operations and weight categories and so forth, they would have made about $45,000, maybe a little more, over their projected earnings every year. They would not have used ADSB to do it because any aircraft that was over 12,500 would be exempt under this plan. 12,500 pound aircraft are going to go into an FBO, and they're going to walk in, they're going to pay a fee. We were encouraging using the FBO to do the fee collection instead of Vector, and instead of giving 15% to Vector, give 10% to the FBO. It was a win-win. The only downside was the contract with Vector would have to be terminated. I don't know why. There was no real good reason given to us, but the city did not pursue that. So over the next several months, I worked with and collaborated with a number of other pilots. We've had some really great people jump into the mix. Through a name of my friend Ron Creel, who's a 50-year veteran instructor, Marine pilot, and so forth, has been helping get the word out. We had connected with a gentleman who runs a flight school up in Apopka, also has a YouTube channel called The Runway Life. His name is Greg. Greg has been really, really ahead of this. He did an episode, probably 4 months before this came into Kissimmee, kind of raising the alarm bells about using ADSB for billing, and had a great interview with Stacy Heaton from AOPA. So between Greg and Stacy and making connections with a representative in the state of Florida, Doug Bankston, and State Senator Tom Wright, and then a co-sponsor for the representative side was Kim Kindle. They were really great this year in introducing legislation in the state of Florida on both the House and the Senate side. We've been to a number of committee meetings, and I am very pleased to say As of last week, the second week in March, the House approved the Senate bill, which is now on its way to the governor's desk. We have all expectations it'll be signed, but it will ban the use of ADS-B for fee collection in the state of Florida for every aircraft below 12,500 pounds and flying under Part 91. So that's really, really great news for the state of Florida. I do believe the governor will probably sign it. Once he does, we'll be doing a victory dance and be very glad to see general aviation protected in the state of Florida. Interestingly enough, in the state of Florida, we issue about 20% of pilot certificates, and it's the #1 training zone for the world in general aviation. So it's a massive business here. It's like $8.5 billion every year in revenue that comes out of flight training in Central Florida. So we want it to be safe. We want it to be affordable. We want to encourage pilots to do safe operations and practice touch and goes and so forth. So we believe that with this bill passed, safety will prevail. Some of the downstreams of this has been if people are getting billed for landings, you might see somebody just as innocently as forcing a bad landing so that they don't have to get the bill for a bounce, landing or a go around. Others are like, ADS-B was sold to us with this promise of no billing, and now all of a sudden here it is. So some pilots are turning off their ADS-B. And I want to be very clear on record. I don't support that in any way. That's a very big safety risk. But some pilots are doing it, and it is concerning. It is what led to the air crash to some degree up in D.C. The helicopter had ADS-B off, and the commercial jet could not have seen them otherwise, I think. So this is a big deal, and it is a safety issue. So I'm glad to say in the state of Florida, if all goes well, we'll have this passed here in no time. So I'm pleased also to say that even before Florida came online, the state of Montana passed a bill. Theirs is a flat-out no ADS-B billing for any aircraft below 9,000 pounds, period. So that's a great start. But now Florida has one rule, and Montana will have another rule, or vice versa. There are other states that are also introducing legislation that's under review. I know Minnesota is looking at a bill. Arizona is looking at a bill. There's also some support actually being gained for supporting the federal bill from airports, if you can believe it, not just pilots, but from airports who are just wanting to do the responsible airport management thing. And those airport voices are coming out of places like Illinois and Massachusetts, Florida, New Jersey, California, Ohio. So this is all moving in a very positive direction, and we're really hoping to keep the momentum going. For those of you who are going to Sun 'n Fun, AOPA is going to have a tent there. I'm sure there'll be some of this conversation had there. I will actually be hosting forums in AOPA or in Sun 'n Fun for 5 days. It's called ADS-B Abuse or Stop ADS-B Abuse, to present on this issue and just kind of raise awareness across the country and to all different states so that we can be active participants in resolving and dealing with this and protecting general aviation. The other challenge of this, and I've talked to a good friend of mine who is from Europe, and he has warned me that this is how it all started in Europe. If you go back about 30 years ago in Europe, general aviation was alive and well, and it was thriving. Then they started introducing bills and everything from landing fees to departure fees to talk to a controller fee, do an instrument approach fee, transition airspace fee. And it's gotten to the point now that general aviation is all but dead in Europe, and it's no longer a hobby for those that just love it. It's just an exclusive for the extremely wealthy to do. So we want to protect that here in the United States, and it's for the future generation of people that want careers in aviation, or maybe somebody like me, fell in love with flying at a young age, life got in the way, didn't get my pilot's license till I was 50. Now I am just really enjoying flying the Mooney that I own with two other great guys, having a chance to go fly with Civil Air Patrol, take the plane, go up for $100 hamburgers, and just enjoy the incredible experience and the beauty of looking down on the state of Florida from the sky. So it's just been amazing. We want to keep and preserve this for current pilots and for generations to come. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I wanted to just kind of get this out there. And if you're going to be at Sun 'n Fun, please drop by one of the forums, come say hi. I'll probably be buzzing around, and you may find me loitering somewhere around the AOPA tent with a lot of interest to hear what they have to say. I do know a lot of folks are a little concerned with Darren Pleasant's departure and the way that played out. I do want to say, regardless of that, and I do share the same concerns, of all of the folks that have been involved in this, AOPA, at least in the state of Florida, Stacey Heaton has been so rock solid, been with us at every single one of the committee meetings on the House and the Senate side, drove this legislation, had conversations with folks, and just really made this possible. And I don't think without AOPA or some other people that have been involved, we would have been able to get this through. So hopefully by the time this airs, or by the time you see this, we'll have the governor's signature. I do think it's coming, and I guess we'll wait and see. But anyway, hoping for that. I look forward to seeing you guys at Sun and Fun. Don't forget, fly safe and happy landings. Have a great day.